Welcome to the world of Coventry Paranormal, and the fourth of our 5 videos looking into mysteries that after much investigation or a confession have been found out to be an unintentional deception or an outright lie. So sit back and enjoy as we travel to the town of Wem and the story of the girl in the flames. And make sure to watch the end of the video to see details of how to enjoy more great videos from CPI. On the 19th of November 1995, firefighters were called to the Shropshire town of Wem. When they arrived at the old town hall, the fire had already gotten a good grip on the building. A crowd of onlookers gathered to watch as the flames took hold, and despite the valiant efforts of the firemen who spent the whole night trying to save the building, the town hall was completely gutted. One member of the public who had gathered to witness the fire that night was an amateur photographer called Tony O'Reilly. He was equipped with the 35mm camera containing black and white film and a 200mm lens. The photo he took on that fateful night soon not only had Shropshire talking, but also the whole world. Tony had a small dark room set up in a shed behind his house that he used to develop and print his own photographs. It was, he claimed, as he developed the pictures that he had taken on the night of the town hall fire that he noticed an anomaly. In one of the pictures showing the burning building behind a fire escape appeared to be the image of a young girl, almost standing in the flames. The photograph was soon made public and received huge media attention not only in the UK but across the globe. The Association for the Scientific Study of Anomalous Phenomena, ASAP, is a government-recognised group set up to investigate all forms of paranormal events, and soon had their regional group, Parasearch, looking into the case. The photo quickly became linked to an incident that occurred in the town of Wem in 1677. A 14-year-old girl named Jane Churn was sent to the loft of a house in Wem to collect some stored firewood. Using a candle as light, she gathered some wood together, not realising until too late that she had placed her candle too close to the roof thatch. Soon many of the buildings in Wem were ablaze, including the old market hall. Since that fateful night, local legend has linked the guilt-ridden spirit of Jane to the many ghostly sightings reported in the town hall, and it did not take long for the photograph to be linked to this legend. ASAP called on Dr. Vernon Harrison to examine the negative of the photo. He stated that whilst the negative appeared not to have been tampered with, the figure was most likely burning debris, which by chance appeared to look like a little girl. A classic case of pareidolia, in fact. Now, for those who don't know what pareidolia is, the Wikipedia definition is that pareidolia is a psychological phenomena involving a vague and random stimulus being perceived as significant. Common examples of this include seeing images of animals or faces in clouds, or in this case, a child in a burning building. Tony himself claimed not to have seen the girl at the time the photograph was taken. Also, the fire brigade recorded a video of the fire that night, and this too showed no signs of the girl in the flames or any debris that could create the illusion. The BBC had a copy of the photograph and asked Paul Thompson and Will Stapp, experts at the National Museum of Photography, Film and Television in Bradford, now the National Media Museum, to take a look. They both concluded that the photo had indeed been manipulated in some way. In fact, Paul Thompson detected what he thought were scan lines. He said it was as though the image consisted of a photo of a face on a video screen pasted onto the picture of the fire. ASAP investigator Andrew Homer met Tony at the time. In his article, Wem Rekindled, published on the website Mysterious Britain and Ireland, Andrew stated that one slight odd aspect was that Tony claimed he could not find any of the negatives preceding or following the image of the girl, which had been cut from the rest of the strip. Preceding and following exposures of the same negative strip of the town hall burning down would have helped to authenticate the image. In 2007, digital photography specialist Steve Potter examined a high-quality JPEG of the original at Andrew's request. Steve, using digital imaging techniques that were not available to the experts in the 1990s, managed to discount the scanline theory. He stated, "The lines on the print do not suggest scan lines of an image photographed from a television screen, but rather scratch lines made by dust or dirt in the camera's back, a common problem with 35mm cameras. He also identified a denser area behind the figure. He concluded that this image could be a selective enlargement, which then was retouched either on the print or by using an interneg of the figure being sandwiched between the original negative or even a copy negative. A negative created from a manipulated photograph, in other words. And even though many people by this time thought the photo to be fake, no one knew how it had been done for sure. And so it remained until the 17th of May 2010, when the Shropshire Star ran a story of retired engineer Brian Lear, who, whilst looking at an old postcard showing Wem High Street from 1922, had noticed a little girl standing in the doorway on the bottom left of the postcard. He suddenly realised the young girl in the photograph bared a striking resemblance to the young girl in the flames of Wem Town Hall. When side by side, you can clearly see that they are the same girl, from the frills on her bonnet and the shadow on her face down to the buttons on her dress and the sash around her waist. The case of the girl in the flames had been solved. Sadly, Tony O'Reilly passed away in 2005, but having met him, ASAP investigator Andrew Homer is convinced that Tony was, in his words, acting in the best interests of Wem by bringing a town hall fire and the story of Jane Churm to the attention of the world's media. Tony always maintained that he was a very amateur photographer, but on the back of a photo Andrew was given to him by Tony, he found this sticker. It suggests Tony was not the amateur he always claimed, and was more than capable of using the interneg technique spotted by Steve Potter. As a footnote on this case, it's very rarely mentioned, only in passing, that shortly before the fire, two workmen who were doing some refurbishment work in the town hall were reported as being terrified by a ghostly figure, shrouded in a swirling mist which passed directly in front of them. So who knows? Maybe Jane Churn had another accident with a candle, and that's what caused Wem Town Hall to burn down. Well, we hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to have a look at the 3 videos prior to this one on our YouTube channel, as well as some of our own great investigation videos. Also, if you want to join the growing online CPI community, you can do so via our Facebook page, our G+ page, or our Twitter page. And don't forget to watch out for the 5th and final video in this group, when we'll be looking at a strange sound recorded in the South Atlantic, otherwise known as the bloop. Until then, goodbye.